Imagine you are standing at the absolute top of the world. The one point on this planet where every line of longitude converges. What do you see? Today, we are told it's just ice. A frozen ocean, 3 miles deep. An empty, barren wasteland. But what if I told you that for centuries, the greatest minds in cartography believed something else was there? Something they were absolutely certain existed. A gigantic, magnetic black island. The Rupes Nigra. A towering obsidian mountain, surrounded by a whirlpool that sucked the ocean into the belly of the earth. For decades, the official story has been that they were just wrong. That it was a myth. A mistake. But what if the truth is far stranger? What if the maps were right, and the conspiracy to hide what lies beneath the ice is the greatest cover-up in human history? To understand the secret, we have to go back to 1569. Gerardus Mercator, a Flemish cartographer, published a map that would change the world forever. It was the first to use his new projection, the one you still see in classrooms today. Straight lines of latitude and longitude. Perfect for sailors. But Mercator didn't just draw coastlines. He filled the blank spaces with information. And at the very top of his map, in the Arctic, he didn't draw an ocean. He drew land. He drew a massive continent, split into 4 distinct rivers or seas, surrounding a dark, central point. He labeled it Rupes Nigra, the Black Rock. Where did he get this information? Mercator was a perfectionist. He didn't just make things up. In his letters, he credits 2 primary sources. The first? An English monk and mathematician from the 14th century named Nicholas of Lynn. The second? A lost account of a voyage by King Arthur's knights. Yes, King Arthur, the mythical king of Camelot. Mercator genuinely believed that Arthur's knights had ventured into the Hyperborean seas and brought back reports of an island at the pole. But is that just medieval nonsense? Or is it a code, a way of preserving a truth too dangerous to publish plainly? To the ancients and the medieval mind, the pole wasn't just a geographical point. It was a metaphysical one. It was the center of the universe. It was the home of the gods. And it was magnetic. Mercator didn't just draw a rock, he described its purpose. He believed that the Rupes Nigra was a mountain of lodestone, magnetic rock, nearly 200 kilometers in circumference. This wasn't just a landmark, it was the engine of the planet. It was the source of all magnetism. The reason compasses worked. The celestial anchor that kept the Earth spinning on its axis. But if that was the case, if that rock existed, where did it go? In the 19th and 20th centuries, as explorers finally pushed north, they found nothing but ice and water. No rock. No continent. So, it was dismissed. A quaint myth. But consider this, what if the mountain is still there? What if it was so powerful, so magnetically disruptive, that we had to invent a new story? Enter the hollow earth theory. Thinkers like John Cleve Sims Jr. proposed that the Earth was not solid, but hollow, with openings at the poles. He petitioned the US Congress to fund an expedition to find the Sims Hole, a 4,000-mile-wide opening at the North Pole leading to the inner world. Suddenly, the Rupes Nigra takes on a new meaning. It's not the continent itself. It's the cap. The stopper in the bottle. It's the mountain that sits at the very edge of the hole, marking the gateway to the interior. Look at Mercator's map again. See those four great rivers? They aren't flowing out from the mountain. They are flowing into it. They are draining the entire Arctic Ocean into a black hole at the top of the world. Where does that water go? According to Hollow Earth theory, it falls into the interior, forming the massive clouds that create the inner sun. This leads us to the most terrifying part of the legend: the whirlpool. Early accounts didn't just describe a static rock, they described a terrifying, permanent vortex at the pole. A whirlpool so powerful that it would suck any ship foolish enough to approach into the abyss. This wasn't just Mercator's idea. It appears in Olaus Magnus's famous Carta Marina from 1539, which predates Mercator. He drew it. He called it the Horrenda Charybdis, the horrifying whirlpool. So, two separate sources, a generation apart, depicting the exact same impossible phenomenon. A massive whirlpool at the pole. But why would a whirlpool exist in the middle of an ocean? Unless there was a hole. Unless the ocean was draining out. By the 20th century, this idea moved from the mystical to the militaristic. The Thule Society, the occult group that heavily influenced the Nazi Party, was obsessed with the idea of Hyperborea, the lost land at the pole. They believed it was the origin of the Aryan race. It is a matter of historical record that the Nazis mounted multiple expeditions to the Arctic. Why? They had the best technology in the world. They were mapping the most remote regions. Were they looking for military advantage? Or were they, like Sims, looking for a way in? And they weren't alone. In 1947, US Admiral Richard Byrd purportedly flew a mission beyond the North Pole. His official diary, however, tells a different story. He reported flying over 1,700 miles past the pole into a land that was not ice, but forests and rivers. He claimed to have spoken to representatives of an advanced civilization inside the Earth. Whether you believe Byrd or dismiss him as a delusional old man, the timing is interesting. Right after World War II, with Nazi technology and ideology being scooped up by both the US and the USSR, the North Pole suddenly became the most militarized place on Earth. The Cold War. The Arctic becomes a front line. The US and Russia build massive distant early warning DEW line radar stations across the top of Canada and Alaska. Nuclear submarines lurk under the ice. The official reason: the Soviet Union could attack the US over the pole. It was the shortest route for missiles and bombers. That makes sense. It's logical. But is it the whole story? Look at the modern restrictions. The airspace and sea lanes near the pole are heavily monitored. Access is difficult. If you try to mount a private expedition to the exact North Pole, you face incredible logistical and bureaucratic hurdles. Why is it so hard to get to a point that is, supposedly, just empty water? In the 20th century, we developed the technology to map the ocean floor. We can see the Titanic in 3D at the bottom of the Atlantic. We have detailed maps of Mars and Venus. But what about the seabed at the North Pole? We have some data, mostly from military submarines. but the publicly available data is vague. They tell us it's the Lomonosov Ridge, an underwater mountain range, a geological extension of Russia and Canada. But what if the Lomonosov Ridge is just a convenient label? What if the sonar pings from the submarines weren't just hitting rock, but hitting something that looked like a mountain because it is a mountain? A mountain that used to be above the water? They say it's a ridge. But maybe, just maybe, it's the remains of the Rupes Nigra. A mountain that was deliberately dynamited, sunk, or buried by some cataclysmic event, or by someone or group of people who wanted to hide the entrance.
6 years old, when I went on my first official trip. I was going with my father and my grandpa Sinclair up to the North Pole. Up to the North Pole. It was a very glamorous destination, but the best scientific, military installation, top secret mission. The existence of this high security Arctic base. The existence of this high security Arctic base. It was exactly right. We drove slowly through and past buildings, all of them very gray.
To understand why the Rupes Nigra might have been destroyed or hidden, we have to understand what it was. It wasn't just a rock. It was a point of energy. Modern science struggles to explain the aurora borealis fully. They say it's solar wind interacting with the magnetic field. But why does it happen at the poles? Why is the energy concentrated there? There is a fringe theory called the electric universe. It posits that the Earth is not just a spinning ball of rock, but an object in a vast electrical circuit with the Sun and the galaxy. The poles are the points of highest electrical discharge. They are the terminals of the planet. If that is true, then the Rupes Nigra wasn't just a magnetic mountain. It was an electrical terminal, a conductor, a massive crystal of black stone, possibly basalt or obsidian, designed by nature or by something else to manage the flow of this cosmic energy. Imagine the energy flowing through that spire. It would be immense. It would warp space and time around it. It would explain the whirlpool, not of water, but of ether, of energy. A vortex. So why hide it? Because if the Rupes Nigra is the planet's main terminal, whoever controls that point controls the energy grid of the entire world. And maybe, just maybe, they don't want us to know that we are living on a battery. The obsession with a black, sacred stone at the axis of the world isn't just a European thing. It's universal. In Islam, the Kaaba in Mecca is a black stone, a focal point of pilgrimage and prayer. It is considered the center of the world. In Greek mythology, Mount Olympus was the home of the gods. But also, at the North Pole, lived the Hyperboreans, a blessed race untouched by war. In Hindu cosmology, Mount Meru is the sacred mountain at the center of all the physical, metaphysical, and spiritual universes. It is the axis mundi. Are all these cultures, separated by thousands of miles and years, just making up the same story? Or are they all remembering the same thing? A pillar at the top of the world. A connection point between heaven and earth. The conspiracy deepens when you consider the Watchers, the beings from the Book of Enoch who descended to earth and taught humanity forbidden knowledge. Where did they land? Where did they set up their base of operations? If you were a celestial being arriving on a new planet, where would you establish your presence? You would go to the point of highest energy. You would go to the pole. You would build your pillar. You would plant your flag at the Rupes Nigra. Maybe Mercator, through his ancient texts, was drawing the ultimate relic. The ruins of a pre-human civilization. The base of the Watchers. So, let's connect the dots. 1. Ancient and medieval sources, using lost knowledge, describe a massive black island at the North Pole. A magnetic mountain surrounded by a whirlpool. 2. This mountain is the Axis Mundi, the spiritual and energetic center of the planet, featured in every major religion and mythology. 3. As we approach the modern era, explorers find the mountain gone. The official story is that it was a mistake. For, simultaneously, the hollow earth theory emerges, suggesting the mountain was a cap over a massive opening. 5. The Nazis, obsessed with the occult and world domination, heavily explore the Arctic, looking for this entrance. 6. Post-World War II, the Arctic becomes the most heavily fortified and restricted region on Earth, locked down by nuclear superpowers. They told us the world is round, solid, and mapped. They told us there are no blank spots left. But the blank spots are just the ones they don't want us to see. The Rupes Nigra is not just a rock. It is a symbol. A symbol of the unknown. A symbol of the gate that was closed. And a reminder that the true history of our planet is not written in textbooks, but hidden beneath the ice, waiting for someone brave enough to go looking. What do you think is really at the North Pole? A ridge of rock? Or a hole in the world? Is this where the famous BlackRock financial giant got their name from? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Stay curious and question everything.